Welcome back to Nerd School Dropout, your safe space for chaotic stories, messy lore, and main characters who prove that with great power comes absolutely no responsibility. If you're new, hi, I'm Asia, and in part 1, we watch Coddie's glow-up turn her into beauty. Charming, magical, and running on zero common sense. I mean, she glowed up so hard she destabilized her entire hometown, which is relatable, honestly. So grab a snack and let's get into part 2 of Beauty, where every decision Coddie makes is either adorable, terrifying, or economically catastrophic. Walking arm in arm with King Maxence, Beauty felt completely beautiful for the first time. She was so happy. Everything will be perfect from now on. In her heart, she thanked Mab, the kind fairy who gave her this marvelous gift. Cut to Coddie greeting her subjects, kissing babies and smiling. However, as the camera pans to the right, we see that the city isn't picture perfect. There are poor people amongst the crowd, and it startles Coddie. She looks genuinely sad, and the king notices. What's wrong, he asks. What good is it to be queen of starving people? I'd rather have a happy kingdom. And honestly, she means it, but you can tell she doesn't fully get it. Like, girl, you can't just wish the economy better. King tries to explain it's not that simple, but she cuts him off tearfully. You're the king. Make a law against poverty. Let them all have what they need. I mean, points for heart, but that's not exactly how the government works. The king, bewitched and in love, nods and promises her gaze will never see this misery again. Coddie lights up and skits off to try on new dresses. Problem solved. That night, we see the king knocking on her chamber door. She says 1 minute, and when she opens it, whew, the man almost forgets how to breathe. The room's all candlelight and silk, and she's lying there in the sheer glimmering gown, playful and radiant. The king looks nervous. Beauty's confused. She's like, "Sir, do you not see me?" He stammers something about her being too perfect, too unreal. She smiles and guides his hand to her waist, telling him not to be so gentle. Next morning, chaos. A servant rushes down the hallway yelling, "Quick, the queen's coming out. Everyone be on alert." Beauty's out for a stroll through the capital, but when she tries to take a side street, her attendants freak out. No, my lady, much prettier this way. They insist, scrambling to clean up the route she's about to walk. You can see servants tossing flowers over potholes, hanging bright fabrics up to hide crumbling walls, and literal poverty under blankets. Beauty smiles, gives coins to some singing children, and continues her inspection. Back at the palace, the king asks if she enjoyed her walk. It wasn't for pleasure, she says proudly. I inspected the city from end to end. Things have improved greatly. Girl, they threw a rug over the slums. Completely unaware of the cover-up, she declares how simple it was to make the kingdom happy. Luckily, I'm here to open your eyes, she tells him. The king nods, and his eyes are glassy, like he's hypnotized. He just agrees to everything she says. She starts making more demands. My attendants are too old, too stuffy. And the king, still in a trance, goes, "Of course, my love." Beauty brought a breath of fresh air to the court despite the war. Never before had such a brilliant, cheerful gathering been seen. To form her retinue, she had summoned the rarest and most renowned beauties, all of them dazzling in their own way. We cut to the knights raiding the queen's entourage like it's some medieval Pop the Balloon. Odeline has incomparable grace, Eloise radiant, but Sibylline's got that extra sparkle. Still, just like the stars fade at the approach of the sun, all women paled in comparison to her presence. And let's be real, Beauty secretly loved it. The men stared at her like hungry dogs, completely forgetting the woman they were just hyping up. She walks past Gracious, but clearly eating it up, and meets up with her girls. One of them says, "They only have eyes for you." Coddie smiles. "I'm the queen, that's why." Then here comes Claudette, arms full of scrolls, clearly running on annoyance and irritation. The ladies immediately start whispering, mocking her. She thinks she's so smart. She's ugly anyway. Coddie overhears and is like, "Not too much on my friend," before running up to Claudette. "You look so pretty today," she says with her bright grin. Claudette just looks at her, tired, unbothered, like she hasn't slept in a week, and keeps walking. Cut to the royal council room. Coddie's sitting at her first meeting post-marriage, looking like she wants to sink into her chair. Claudette's there too, watching the chaos unfold, realizing she's basically right back where she started. Another queen in charge, another potential problem. The councilmen are talking non-stop about war, taxes, rebuilding, all that boring grown-up stuff. Coddie tries to care, she really does, but after about 10 minutes, she's visibly over it. Finally, she blurts out, "War, war, war, is that all there is in the world? There are so many other problems to solve." Everyone freezes. She starts going off, talking about making the gardens prettier, demolishing ugly neighborhoods, and making the streets easier to walk on. One of the councilmen says, "But those are people's homes." And Coddie, without missing a beat, says, then we'll just resettle them in new ones. King looks like he's dying inside, but he nods anyway, mumbling, she's right, as always. Claudette sits back, watches this circus place out, and realizes something. She doesn't have an op. She has the perfect puppet, the perfect stunt dummy. We pan to Otto, trudging through the swamp marshlands. To make Beauty happy, Otto had gone in search of riches. But if fortune favors the bold, it doesn't just fall into an impatient man's hands. And Otto was impatient to the highest degree. Every moment he burnt to return to Beauty's arms. So he's out here robbing graves, fighting farmers, and killing indiscriminately for that minion, like a crazed berserker on a single mission. He's collecting gold and resources and eventually returns home. Otto's greeted by his mother and sees construction happening on the abandoned wing of the castle. She tells him she received an inheritance from a distant cousin, which we all know is a lie. He shows off his bountiful treasure and tells her he went to wage war in some faraway kingdom across the sea. Now you know he lying. He immediately asks for Beauty. His mom tries to play dumb. She says she's gone, got married, and Otto loses his shit. He grabs up his mama and shouts. She tells him Beauty wasn't faithful and start looking for her new husband by day 3. Otto crashes out. He demands to know who took her. When his mother tells him she's now the queen of the south, married to the king, this man spirals, starts hyperventilating, breaking things, and then ends up crying on the bed they once shared. Cut to the king, waiting on Coddie to get dressed for a council meeting, but she's taking forever. She clearly doesn't want to go. The king tells her she's not obligated, and then his sister doubles down, like, yeah, her grace already brings value to the court, but it's giving sit your ass down and look pretty. Then we see Coddie playing a game with her court ladies. One of the knights are blindfolded, chasing someone, and he ends up grabbing the hem of her dress. He playfully fills up her arm, touches her face, and Coddie, she's with it. For a second, he touches her ear and sniffs her hair. Her delicate but salty scent gives her away, and as a reward, she lets him kiss her hand. Coddie says it best, because he is eating that hand up while the king just watches from the window. The king couldn't help but notice the spark of desire in every man's eyes when they looked at her, and although he trusted her, that one quick flicker of doubt, it stuck with him. Now, Coddie hasn't had the chance to date or be desired before, so yes, I think she's just enjoying her desirability, but that might end up causing trouble for her later on. The king can't even focus during his meeting. He's too busy thinking about her flirting, and then afterward, the king pulls her aside. The knights are gallant towards you, he says. Coddie shrugs it off like, it ain't no thing, it's just a game. They know I'm your queen, baby. But the king doesn't think it's clear in anyone's head. Coddie snaps back, she's just having fun, but he's never home, so maybe he needs to make an effort. And he's like, but the kingdom needs me. Then she twists the knife. You're never any fun. Why do you always have to be so inhibited? Let yourself go a little. And honestly, I feel kind of bad for the king. He's trying to run the kingdom, and Coddie is being a bit manipulative, a little childish, and very unaware of her man's emotional needs. Later, Coddie is admiring herself while Mab is perched on her vanity. They gossiping, and Mab is being messy as hell. She backs her up, saying her husband should trust her, that she's not giving the kitty away, and that he should be flattered that men find her so fine. Then Mab drops this absolute mess of a take. If you're living as a recluse, sheltered from temptations, it's impossible to put your love to the test and prove your commitment. And Coddie's dumbass agrees. We cut to Beauty looking sad as hell, and honestly, in one of my favorite outfits she's worn so far. The king notices, and she tells him she's been feeling homesick. He suggests that they take a voyage back to her homeland while he inspects the province's fortifications. Coddie is ecstatic, and they start preparing. When the royal messenger gives notice to the villagers, they're not taking any chances. They remember what happened last time, and baby, the whole town packs up and skips. They tell godmother Coddie's married to the king, and she frantically boards the ship with Peter and her husbands, because if Coddie comes back for round 2, it might be even worse. As they set sail, Peter suddenly decides to jump ship and go back. Coddie's first stop, Otto's castle, but when she gets there, Otto's mother stops her. She tells her Otto's back, but he doesn't want to see her. Coddie's stunned. She says that she didn't want to see him either. Meanwhile, Otto is sulking in a torn up room. Coddie leaves and heads to the village, but she finds it empty. She turns to go whispering, why did they all run away? I only wanted to. And she scans the area one last time and sees Peter. She runs up to greet him, hugging him tight. He calls her Your Majesty, but she tells him she'll always be Coddie to him, just not when anyone can hear. Back at Otto's estate, his mother is picking out fabrics, vibing, minding her business, until Otto finds out that she sold Coddie for riches. He's pissed. She argues that Beauty's love wasn't real and he can find someone else. Otto screams never and rides off by horseback with violence in his soul. We see a battalion from the Southern Army marching along the riverbank. They spot Otto and start grinning like they're about to have some fun, but Otto, he's not playing. He beheads them before they can even react, jumps off his horse, and slaughters the rest of them in brutal fashion. Then he heads for their camp, burning everything, killing their forces with absolute ferocity. Otto's legend starts spreading, the fearless knight who stared death in the face without even blinking. But no one suspects the truth behind his rage, the heartbreak, the despair, the way he drowns himself in the crash and bang of war. Otto returns home to find his mother changing his sheets. He's desperate, searching the laundry, the hampers, trying to find her scent, and when he does, he sleeps with it, intoxicated with dreams of her, dreams that blur into nightmares. The next day, Southern war advisors report to their king. They've got a problem. A rogue low lord along the coast. The king, aggressive as always, orders them to crush him. Back at the estate, Otto's mother receives word. He's been invited to a grand tournament held in the queen's honor. He refuses at first, but it's a direct royal order, so he rides to the palace. When he arrives, he's ushered in to meet Her Majesty. Coddie is nitpicking her hair, clearly nervous to see him. Peter's with her now, her right-hand man, though he's always in a love daze around her, barely able to speak. Coddie walks up to Otto and says, "I forgive you. Be my champion for the tournament." Otto's like, "Forgive me? For what? For deceiving me? For breaking my heart? For all your damn lies?" Coddie shoots back, "How dare you? You left me." Otto snaps, "Queen or not, you're one hell of a bitch." Yeah, Otto didn't give a damn. He'd been heated since he left his crib. Coddie is furious. She breaks a vase, storms back to her seat next to the king. He asks what's wrong, but she just rambles about the hustle and bustle of the event. Later, they call Otto to fight in a duel, but he refuses to leave his tent. The queen's minions start mocking him, calling him scared, and he calls them cackling fools and tells them to beat it. Princess Claudine sees all of this go down and is like, well, he's rude, but honestly kind of refreshing. If he was here more, the court wouldn't be so boring. So Coddie picks that knight who was kissing her hand to be her champion instead. Otto sees it, grabs a pail of water, and dumps it on Coddie, soaking her completely. Her champion tries to fight Otto, but Otto pulls a cheap move, cuts the tent ropes, and collapses the whole thing on top of him. Then walks off, laughing his ass off. Petty. Back at the palace, the king is devising a plan to bring Otto, his best warrior, back to his senses. Coddie is not trying to hear any of that. She wants his head on a platter. The king tells her to calm down, it was just a little water, and decides to send his sister to negotiate. Claudine and Otto are taking a stroll as they discuss his ex-girl turned queen drama. Claudine surmises that he is whipped as all the other men are, but he explains that it's complicated. He unpacks the deplorable and horrible things he has done for her, and while he feels the shame, he cannot escape the hold she has on him. He truly hates her, but he's trapped, haunted in his dreams by a woman who does not love him. In short, he hates her, but the love spell she conjures with her beauty is too strong. Claudette admits that she doesn't understand, as she has never been in love. He turns to her and says, "That's sad." She explains, "You can't regret what you've never had," and she skillfully kills a bird. He is both impressed and amused as she jokingly shoots back, "Why do you think I'm still husbandless at my age?" He realizes Claudine's personality is fresh and fun, and she goes to tell him, "Oh baby, you don't even know the half." He's intrigued and says he's never met someone like her, but we know her riz is just too strong, so she takes it as a compliment. She likes him and says, "I'll fix this matter with my brother, but just chill and watch her steps moving forward." Claudine approaches her brother the king with her findings. She says Otto humbly demands a pardon for his behavior as he will renew his allegiance, and the king agrees. Coddie, still hating, is like, "Nah, put him to the test first and make him slay the monstrous boar that's been plaguing the Black Hills. If he kills it, then they should see if he's fit." The forest is dark and deep, and we see Otto making his way towards the Black Hills. He tracks the boar and finds it grazing. Otto lunges at the boar with his spear and stabs it right in the back. He rolls off and makes chase as the boar is enraged. The boar corners him, but luckily Otto unsheathes his sword and plants it right in between the boar's eyes, killing it. Otto sends the boar head to the palace and goes right back to the war. The act inspires the court and they praise his bravery. The king raises him from knight to baron while Coddie sits in a corner, annoyed. She storms out the king's hall with Peter chasing behind her. She complains that everything's always messed up and never perfect, and how it's always Otto's fault because they were happy together, but he abandoned her. She sends for Gautran, the knight who made out with her hand, and tells him to bring her Otto so he can grovel at her feet for forgiveness. A while after, we see Beauty, and they inform her that Gautran is back. She goes down to see him, but his body lies slumped over his horse. The king is pissed, with a capital P, and tells her to stop sending the knights to die. They're at war, and they don't have time for her petty squabbles. Coddie crosses her heart. "It's not my fault the other knights don't like him." The king stares at her, exhausted. All of this over a pail of water? I do not understand you. And she just stands there willfully ignorant of her chaos. The next day, one of the maidens start gossiping about Gautran's tragic death, but Coddie couldn't care less. She turns away, tosses something into a pool of muddy water, and tells her royal knights, whoever finds it wins. Immediately, these men dive in, desperate for her attention, and Coddie, she's just sitting there watching her Love Island episode, and then she spots him. Tall, fine, and clearly her type. She smirks, tossing her ring right near him, and when he finds it, she crowns him her new devoted knight. Then she does the most. Prepare a bath, she says. I'll wash him myself. And tells that poor man to disrobe. He gets in this bath ass naked, and she tells him not to be embarrassed since he's like a brother to her, essentially gaslighting him into thinking he'd be twisted to see anything wrong with it. Like, girl, you are a freaky frog. He is clearly very aroused, and he's saying it's like, I've got you all hot and bothered. Could you be less innocent than I? How naughty. In another panel, we see Coddie chilling in the palace as Princess Claudine enters her chambers. Word gets around fast, and before long, the whispers start. Claudine warns Coddie that the people are talking, saying she's getting a little too close to the knights. It's beginning to look inappropriate, and the gossip's spreading. Coddie instantly shoots the accusation down. Claudine isn't buying it. She pulls Coddie aside and lowers her voice. You need to be careful. Coddie shrugs and mutters under her breath, I'm not gonna start living my life because of some idiotic gossip. In the bathhouse, Beauty is undressing while her devoted knight stands just shy of seeing her bare body. He hesitates, asking why she never sends him to fight Otto. Does she think he's not brave enough? Beauty smiles, saying that's not it. She just wants him close. She admits she can't do without his presence. If Otto ever did show up to the palace, well, she wouldn't mind if he got his ass beat. The knight wishes for the day he can prove himself to her, and she kind of finds it adorable. Beauty tells him to close his eyes as she walks over, still completely bare, and plants a soft kiss on his head. The curly redhead court maiden tells Coddie she has a lot of nerve, but Beauty protests that he didn't even see anything. Meanwhile, Princess Claudine is with her brother, expressing how worried she is about Beauty's antics. The king admits his wife has her faults, sure, but insists she isn't deceitful. He thinks she's just playful, harmless even. Claudine isn't convinced. She warns him that while he may see it as innocent fun, everyone else is starting to talk, and that's what worries her. Claudine advises her brother to send Robert, Beauty's overly devoted knight. The king doesn't understand how she could be bored, but he's missing the point. Showering her in gifts doesn't replace actual attention. Cut to Beauty in the royal garden with Peter, picking roses when Robert shows up. He's come to say goodbye because he's being sent to war. Coddie's face drops. That's not what she wanted to hear, but he tells her he can't disobey the king's order. Coddie lashes out, saying, then you must not really love me, before storming off and snapping that he can go get himself killed in this pathetic war. Coddie protests to her husband that she doesn't want her knights to go fight. Who's supposed to entertain me then? The king, tired of her antics, says war is war, and that's what knights are for. She tries to persuade him to at least let Robert stay, but he's firm. No exception. Later, we see her slumped over in her chambers, miserable, with Peter and her maiders hovering nearby. She sighs. Why does everything have to be so complicated? I thought being beautiful would make everything simpler. Peter tells her it's not a question of appearance, saying you want everything and its opposite. Coddie denies it, pouting, while we see Robert climbing the palace wall outside her window like a lovesick Spider-Man. Peter continues, Coddie, there are moments when I don't even recognize you. You weren't like this back in the village. And she replies, almost wistful, certainly, I was so happy back then. Suddenly, Robert leaps through the window, scaring the royal retinue half to death. He grabs Coddie, begging her to run away with him. We'll live hidden in the forest, feeding on the roots, he says, like that's supposed to be romantic. She yells, you've lost your mind. I'm the queen. My husband is the best of men. I'm not about to throw away my life and live like a pauper. Robert straightens up, confused and heartbroken. But I thought you loved me, he says. She fires back coldly. It was never about that. As the maiden scream for the guard, the knight tries to flee, but is cut down right in front of the queen and her attendants. Coddie breaks down, crying in her attendant's arms. Came over him. The king arrives, furious, not at her tears, but at the loss of yet another good night. Coddie protests that she didn't do anything wrong, but the king snaps. You're completely irresponsible. You only think of your... And before he can finish, she faints. The physicians rush in, check her pulse, and whisper amongst themselves before turning to the king. Congratulations, your majesty. Your wife is bearing an heir. The king's face shifts to joy, then flatlines into something darker. We end on Beauty asleep in bed and the king's shadow looming over her, setting the stage for the turn ahead. Calm returned to court. The knights had been sent to war, and Beauty didn't protest. Robert's death had served as a lesson to her. She strove to be exemplary, to regain her husband's trust. They were both full of consideration for one another, avoiding all subjects of discord. The king had even succeeded in freeing up a whole hour a day for her. Beauty wasn't bored any longer. The child filled her days and nights. So this was the happiest and most stable Beauty, aka Coddie, had been in a long time. But while she was finally balancing out, we see her husband beginning to spiral, likely over the paternity of her child. The timing did make it look messy. In the next panel, we see Coddie giving birth. She gives one solid push and delivers a bouncing little girl. Beauty was curious to see what her baby would look like, and to her joy, she saw the coarse features of her child and was moved to tears. She undid her bodice and stretched out her bosom to feed her baby. She whispered softly, "Marine, daughter of Coddie," and assured that everything would be all right now that she was here. She asked her husband if he was happy, and he said yes. Sure. She figured he was just weirded out because she hadn't had a boy, but he assured her that he was happy and arranged a whole palace to be built for the baby girl. Later, she asked Peter, "Doesn't she look adorable?" Peter smiled and said Marine looked just like her when she was little, especially the ears. Coddie laughed and pointed out that she had Maxence's eyes. Peter told her, "He must be overjoyed. I would be if I were in his place." Peter leaned in lovingly, telling Marine he was her uncle and to give him a smile. Then, a very thought took hold of the king. He started to wonder if he was really the father, and if not, who was? Had the child been born beautiful, it might have comforted him. But now, he even started doubting his own looks. He's scanning the faces of the queen's male attendants, thinking the father had to be ugly for their daughter to come out that way. Then he turned and caught Peter staring at her, lovingly, hovering just a little too close to his wife. It's time to bless the royal heir, and the priestesses asked the fairies to reveal themselves and to bless baby Marine with gifts. The fairies take forever to show up, and when they finally do, they've got an attitude. They say since there's milk, the fairies won't bite her fingers. They'll grant her 3 gifts. Because her mother is blinded by appearances, she will have clairvoyance. Because her mother is overly proud, she will have modesty, but she will not have beauty. The king protests, saying it's customary to give that to princesses. And Claudine just goes, not always, me for example. The fairies snap back enough and deliver the final gift. She will have discreet charm, the kind that's not obvious at first glance. They walk away disappointed as the king remarks how strange it is for them to do this. They must not love her very much. Later on, we see Map chatting with Coddie as she fills her in on how it all went. Map says of course that happened. They're envoys of Mara the Wicked. Coddie blinks, confused. Mara? Wicked? But she's the queen of the fairies. Map rolls her eyes and says, yeah, through treachery. I was destined for the throne, but Mara was sneaky. Cast a spell on me, the very one you freed me from. She leans in, voice low. That's why she's mad at you. She trembles knowing I'm free. Coddie just nods slowly, listening to Map's side of the story, not knowing what to make of it. We see King Max and Princess Claudine discussing the war and the economic state of their land. They need more money for the war, but they can't keep pressuring the people. Claudine thinks they need to get the money where it actually is, with the nobles. She suggests that they economize, saying even cutting a bit of the queen's budget could feed the army for months. The king worries that taxing the nobles will make them refuse to fight, but Claudine counters that they could at least moderate the queen's expenses. Meanwhile, Queen Coddie is overseeing the construction of her daughter's palace and suggests they build a lake connecting her palace to the royal castle. The king tells her no, construction must stop, they need to economize. Coddie bursts into tears. But you promised. Oh, you don't love me anymore. The king sighs, saying, you can't imagine how much I love you, but this war is ruining us. Coddie insists the kingdom is prosperous. Every time I go out, I see happy, well-fed people. He caves instantly. Fine, the lake will be beautiful. Then he walks back to the council room and tells them, tax the peasants. Princess Claudine is done. She mutters about losing control ever since Coddie arrived. It's not that she wants power, it's just that everything around Beauty turns into chaos. Peasants begin to revolt, gathering at the castle gates demanding food. Coddie is in the middle of overseeing a painting session when her attendants rush in panicking. Outside, the mob is shouting, death to the queen, and calling her a thief. Coddie goes to the balcony confused, but when the men glimpse her, they immediately fall silent, mesmerized by her beauty. The women below keep screaming though, calling her a hussy and demanding food for their starving children. Coddie runs back inside shaken. Why do they hate me? I thought the people loved me. She demands the truth, but the king insists she's too sensitive. I can't bear to see you cry. She yells, you all lied to me. I hate you. The king cries, it was to make you happy. I'd do anything for you. Claudine just stands there, migraine incoming, determined to see for herself. Coddie sneaks into the city in disguise. Seeing the poverty firsthand, she declares, if my subjects are poor, then I'll be poor too. She orders her jewelry slowly melted down and helps knead bread and milk cows. Peter tills the garden while the maidens pick fruit. They bake and feed the people themselves. Later, she bursts into the council room. Do they love me now? She asks, while Claudine and Max are mid-strategy session. The king forces a smile. Of course they do. Take a break. But Coddie shakes her head. I like being useful. We have to stop the war at all costs. Claudine overhears and snaps. Stop the fighting now? If we sue for peace, the Boar King will humiliate us worse than ever. Coddie shoots back. But how can you bear all the suffering? Claudine huffs. It's not that simple. I'm thinking about the good of the kingdom. Coddie says the kingdom is its people. Claudine says you know nothing of politics. Princess Claudine later meets with the Boar King to negotiate peace. He agrees, but only if his nephew, the son of his late sister, marries Marine. Claudine hesitates, pointing out the family ties. The Boar King smirks. I thought your nephew wasn't King Maxen's son. Claudine blinks, realizing his implication. Of course, you're right. There's no kinship. He replies, then it's settled. The princess will marry the Prince of the North. Back home, Coddie hears the news and is gleeful. Claudine and Max, though, look miserable. Claudine whispers that the marriage is an insult, an abomination. The king cuts her off coldly. It doesn't matter. Marine isn't my daughter. Claudine is stunned. He continues, I don't want to lose Beauty. We'll just do what she wants. As she walks away, Claudine thinks to herself, she truly has a gift for driving men insane. Fast forward to the betrothal. Princess Marine is older now, and the king has Coddie hidden away in a tent so the Boar King won't see her. Coddie pouts, it's not fair. Claudine, please talk to him. Claudine sighs, it's no use. She hands Coddie Marine and whispers, go behind the wall hanging so that you can see everything without being seen. After months of negotiation, the kneading takes place on the front lines. The Boar King arrives unarmed. Coddie and her handmaiden peek from behind the curtain. He asks, is Beauty here? King Max says she's ill. The Boar King laughs. My wife is the loveliest in the north, though some say she's not worth a dog's fart next to Beauty. King Max stammers. How unkind. Claudine jumps in quickly. Beauty's pretty sure, but nothing extraordinary. No doubt your queen's far lovelier, right, Maxens? The king nervously agrees. Of course people exaggerate. Behind the curtain, Coddie's pride is boiling. Claudine introduces Marine. In their family, Beauty comes later in life, she says diplomatically. The Boar King scoffs. The queen must be hideous. That's why you're hiding her. Coddie's had enough. She steps out, glowing, smiling tightly. Don't let me interrupt. I was just passing by. The Boar King freezes, grabs her arm. What? She grasps. King Max lunges, shouting, don't touch my wife. They start brawling, and the Boar King storms out screaming, I want that woman. Coddie sobs, that wasn't my intention. Max throws her into the carriage, furious. Go back to the palace. Claudine just watches as the war reignites. The Boar King, impatient and obsessed, demands more soldiers despite harvest season. His advisors warn him, but he doesn't care. He wants Beauty. Meanwhile, King Max returns home dark and exhausted. Coddie asks how the battles are going. Badly, he says. She brightens. At least you were offered armistice. He growls, the condition is that I hand you over. In rage, he shouts, you just had to make him fall in love with you. Admit it, you enjoy driving men mad. He grabs her roughly, kissing her with anger. She gasps, you're scaring me. But he doesn't stop. He pushes her down, kissing and clutching her, consumed by jealousy and rage. Coddie mistakes it for passion. You're so strong, she whispers. Afterwards, he lies down dazed on the floor while she looks almost satisfied. Then he leaves for war again, confused, broken, and slipping further into madness. Later, we see Coddie preparing for his royal duties when he's suddenly grabbed by two knights and dragged away. Coddie, in the garden, notices his fan in a broken pitcher. Alarmed, she runs to the king. Have you seen Peter? He says coldly, I don't know what you're talking about. Something feels off. She follows him down a dark passage and finds Peter in the execution room. The king is questioning him. Are you Marine's father? Peter denies it. I've done nothing. Coddie bursts in crying. Stop! It's not possible. He's like my brother. You have no right. The king's eyes are hollow. All kindness is gone. Get her out of here, he orders. Then without hesitation, he stabs Peter through the chest. Coddie screams, this has to be a nightmare. The king storms into her chambers. He wanted you. She cries, he didn't deserve that. I've always been faithful. He grabs her. You want to join the Boar King, don't you? You like him. Admit it. Coddie scratches his face, screaming, don't you ever touch me again. I hate you. He throws her over his shoulder. You're my wife. He drags her away as she kicks and cries. Later, Coddie is in the garden again, tears streaming down her face. She runs deeper into the trees, and of course that's when Mab shows up. Mab sighs. Your husband's an imbecile. You deserve to have some fun. Give him a reason to be jealous. Coddie snaps. Shut up. Mab smirks. You know the Boar King's crazy about you. Wouldn't that be perfect revenge? Coddie shakes her head, crying. Why couldn't I just be normal? Just an ordinary beauty. Nice, but a little ordinary. Mab flatly says, that attitude and flies away annoyed. We see Coddie speaking with the Minister of Finance, begging for help with her husband. King Max is off the deep end and she doesn't know what to do. The minister says he'd love to help, but he doesn't know how. Mind you, King Max is already in the room listening to the whole thing. Coddie leaves and we follow the minister walking to the palace until the knights suddenly grab him and drag him away. Cut to Claudine in the council chamber. She asks the king where the Minister of Finance is. Max shrugs. So where's the captain of the palace guard, she asks. Silence. The head of protocol? Crickets. And what about the queen's knights, the ones who made up her whole retinue? Where are they? They fled, the king says finally. Before the northern armies arrive, rats leaving a sinking ship. Claudine sits alone on the table. What a mess. Outside, the palace burns. Chaos everywhere. Princess Claudine stands overlooking it all, realizing this is where all her clever plans have led. Coddie runs in panic, saying she doesn't know what to do with Max. Claudine cuts her off. All is lost. Spare me your yapping, stupid woman. Coddie fires back. It's easy to lay all the responsibility on me, Princess Know-It-All. And honestly, she's not wrong. Coddie has fumbled her entire queen era, but Claudine's selfish motives played a part too. She just hid her mistakes under Coddie. Everyone has been acting out of selflessness. Coddie goes out onto a balcony and finally sees it with her own eyes. The fires, the collapsed buildings, people fighting and dying, babies crying in the streets. The kingdom is falling apart, and it's at least partly the result of her decision. Reality hits hard. Marine runs up scared. Coddie kneels down and comforts her. I'm here. She tells her daughter she's going to share a secret. Before your mama was beautiful, she was ugly. A fairy gave me a gift and made me the most beautiful of women. But I'll ask the fairy to undo it so the Boar King will leave us in peace. She promises Marine everything will be alright. Coddie runs through the palace shouting for the good fairy, looking everywhere. She can't find her. Why did you abandon me when I need you most, she cries. She kneels at the pond, staring at her reflection. There it is, she whispers. You're gone. I must have vexed you. Suddenly, we hear the king screaming. The two handmaidens rush in with baby Marine, frantic. They push Coddie into the water, hiding her under the surface while the king storms in, swinging a knife. You'll never be the Boar Kings, he screams through the halls. I'll kill you first. They stay hidden, holding their breath until they hear him leave. They jump out and escape into a hidden passageway. The maidens tell her she can take shelter with Lord Otto. His lands are the only ones that the Boar King hasn't conquered, and his castle is impregnable. But Coddie refuses. He has every reason to hate me. He'd throw me out, and I won't give him that satisfaction. So she flees into the tunnels with Princess Marine, leaving the kingdom behind. Cut to Lord Otto in full armor watching the enemy soldiers try to climb the ruined palace wall. He attacks them from behind until Princess Claudine throws down a rope. Climb, she calls. Otto climbs up. She tells him it's very chivalrous of him to come die with them, and her brother would appreciate it if he wasn't off the deep end. Otto is stunned. She explains the king is too busy killing off his last offenders before cutting off his wife's head. He killed her? Otto asks, horrified. No, Claudine says. She escaped through a tunnel with her daughter. Otto tries to leave immediately. She needs help. Claudine warns him the tunnels are sealed and the gates are blocked. Otto shrugs. Fine, I'll use my usual strategy. Jump in and hope for the best. Claudine stares. Has it ever occurred to you to use your head? Otto answers. A headbutt is usually useful in a fight. She drags him along instead. She takes him to the lathe Coddie wanted built for Marine's palace. For once, one of Coddie's ideas is actually useful. Claudine explains the wooden supports of the dam can be burned. She's already prepared everything as a welcome gift for the Boar King. Otto says there won't be much left to drink in the castle. Claudine answers, the dead drink little. She shoves him into a barrel. Your warship. From here on out, everything depends on your sword arm. He calls her a formidable princess. She says, but only a woman, then turns to leave, prepared to die with her kingdom. Otto yanks her back and throws her in the barrel with him just in time. The dam explodes. Water crashes through the palace, drowning entire armies. The barrel smashes through debris and eventually washes up safely. Claudine crawls out, drenched and miserable. That was an awful means of transportation, she groans. Otto says, blame yourself, you thought of it. They ride off to safety. Back at the palace, the Boar King and his men stagger to their feet after the explosion. They push through the broken gates and find bodies everywhere. Then they see King Max slaughtering what's left of his own soldiers, accusing them of wanting to sleep with his wife. He's completely gone. The Boar King orders them to seize him alive and look for Beauty. Kill anyone who touches her, he warns. Max fights like a demon, calling his soldiers a pack of lewd baboons and threatening to kill them all. The Boar King knocks him out cold and they hoist him up. They can't get anything useful out of him. He's delirious. He just keeps mumbling one name, Beauty. The Boar King snaps. He lifts his blade and beheads King Max with one clean strike. Find her, he roars. Turn every stone, every bush. Whoever brings her to me will receive her weight in gold. He kicks Max's head off the palace wall and marches inside. Our final shot. Coddie carrying Princess Marine, slipping quietly into the forest on the outskirts of her ruined kingdom. And that's how Beauty lost her husband and her kingdom. But low-key, I feel like this is the first time Coddie actually sees the cost of everything she's done. Like, if you look back, so many of these disasters are either directly or indirectly connected to her. The way she plays with people's feelings, the way she refuses to listen, the way she only wants the fun parts of her power but not the responsibility. Knights are dead, peasants are starving. The kingdom is literally on fire, and she's just now realizing, oh, this might be my fault a little bit. Peter's death especially hurts because he was one of the only people who truly loved her as Coddie, not as Beauty, and he still ended up on the wrong side of her choices and the king's paranoia. Coddie and Marine, meanwhile, are just gone, on the run. No kingdom, no husband, no safety net. It's sad, but it also might be the only thing that forces her to wake up. If you watched all the way through, first of all, you're real for that. If you're vibing with this messy fairy tale breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next lesson. This has been Nerd School Dropout. Thanks for coming to class, and I'll see you in the next one. Class dismissed.